everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
All right, you guys ready?
Wait, what song is this? I don't know this one.
Yeah, everyone's supposed to kind of take a different key. We're going to smooth McGroove this shit. Here we go.
I don't think it's going to happen the way you want, Brian.
I kind of like his like Scatman version over that Burke was rocking just a second ago.
I don't know if anybody heard mine and how much it sounded like Bobcat Goldthwait. Wait till you go back and listen to it. You're going to be like, yeah, I think that kind of was.
Oh my God. I just love the fact that you just once again pulled that reference.
I don't know why. That guy was formative in my years, man.
That guy was formative.
He was a golf game I had. He was the announcer. You could change the name to or change the voice to him, and that's what I had on my PC. It was a golf game, and he was the announcer.
Everybody knows if you're gonna play a sports game, it's got to have Bobcat Goldthwait in it. God dang it!
So I have no idea how to talk on that. Period. Just wanted to bring that out because I have no idea who the fuck y'all are talking about.
Yeah,
I'll learn you.
Okay,
I'll learn you both.
Okay, let's avoid that and talk about something more interesting. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
Have any of y'all ever heard of this thing called
the internet? Oh,
no. We're going a little bit pre-Al Gore. Called bookstores.
Oh,
what?
I think I've heard about them.
I know Michelle has because she actually reads books. Brian, I'm surprised you have. They're these things like kind of like a library, but you buy the books instead of taking them back, right?
Oh,
okay. So they existed back in the early 1990s. So, okay, sorry. So anyways, a couple weeks ago when we were doing our D&D episode, I decided I'm creating a character. I want to get into this world, right? And I wanted a physical hard book. Like I'd seen some of the guides they have online and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I want to get a book. So anyways, I looked on Amazon and I was looking for the 5e hardback edition of the what's it, Player's Handbook, and it was $30. I'm like, oh, it's not bad. And then I remembered I have this thing called a gift card for Barnes and Noble, and I guarantee they are from college, if not high school graduation. Like I'm talking at least 10 years old. And I go on, I look at them, and it turns out I have two, and I have $45 worth of gift cards. I'm like, awesome. I look up, there happens to be a Barnes and Noble about 5 miles away. So after work, I was like, let's make a drive, actually go to a bookstore. Walk in. One, it smells absolutely amazing. I forgot how good bookstores smell.
The smell of paperback.
Like there's just nothing like it. And, you don't get that with digital stuff. So I understand people's nostalgia around that. But walk in there, find ask around, ask for where the nerd section is. I go over there, walk it, find the book, pick it up, take it to the front. And as I'm walking up to the front, I notice on the back of the book on the little tag, it says $49.99. And I'm like, I'll pull up their website, Barnes & Noble's website. They'll honor the $30, right? Makes sense. It's their website. It's not like I'm going Amazon. It's not like it's Best Buy price matching kind of thing. I'm like, it's their own website. So get up to the counter, rings up, $49.99. And they go, would you like to sign up for our blah, blah, blah club? No, I'm good. Like, it's only $20 a year and you get $10 back today. So it's only $10. No, I'm good. Well, if you buy all the books for Dungeons & Dragons, it will really pay off because they're a lot cheaper. You'll get 30%. It'll be $30. I'm like, how about you just price match your own website, right? Show him the phone. And he goes, we don't do that.
What?
I know a lot of stores that are like that.
I go,
wait. It was their own website.
Yeah.
There's no need to price match. That's your website.
Yeah, right? It's their own website. I can order it and have it shipped to me from their website. Shipping was free, but it wouldn't get here before the podcast, so hence why I'm going to the store, right? So I go, you're kidding me, right? He goes, nope. And I'm like, yeah, I'm controlling myself at this time. I'm like, so you're telling me that you will not match your own website? He goes, no, because if Amazon had bookstores like this, it would be $50 too. At this point, my mouth is just open going, am I really hearing this? So I go, at that point, I go, whatever. I can pay for everything, but like $5-6 worth of the book in gift cards. I don't care. They've been sitting there for years. So I buy it, bring it home. And I think I call Craig and tell him the story. And at that point, I'm heated. And I'm
Sure.
Fuck.
He was yelling.
Fuck
There
this,
was
fuck
yelling
that,
involved.
going off. Well, then I tell my wife, and then she goes, she has a great idea. Maybe I should admit this, but I'm going to anyway. She goes, use the book for Wednesday's podcast, then take it back. And then buy the book on their website for cheaper, so you have the money back. I'm like, genius. So
You did that?
so we did the podcast, right? We had our adventure, and then I go back to the store on I think the following Friday or something like that. Walk in, return it, and I was like, just give it to me in the original payment method, thinking they're going to give me a gift receipt and I'll just use it online. Nope, they give all the money to me on my credit card.
What?
Are you serious?
So the $45 that I had in gift cards were now on my credit card, and I just went over to Amazon and bought the book and got it in 2 days.
So basically, you made
I
money on
made
this
money
deal.
on this deal.
That
Wow.
is some oversight.
They could have gotten away with a sale in general, but they're like, no, we're gonna be
Yeah.
sticklers to
And
this.
I'm like, yeah. So they gave me money basically.
Can I understand something
Mhm.
real quick? In their minds, and in this scenario that you just gave about buying a book, how can you return a book?
They had
Like,
like a 7-day, as long as it wasn't like ruined and had shit all over it.
Yeah, they give you a very limited time period.
That makes no sense, because like a book is like a book is like a video game. Once you buy it and you open it, you've essentially consumed what it is. Like, or you wouldn't open a box of Lucky Charms, eat the box of Lucky Charms, and show up with an empty box going, "I'd like to return this." Same
people
sort of
do
thing
that.
with a book.
I just people do that. Just a side note.
Oh, and I've got an actual story as well of when I was doing my shows for the bed company I worked for, and I was doing Costco's. I was in the return lane, or the customer service return area at one point, and I was sitting there watching this person in front of me. One, I know their return policy on fruit. Like if you get fruit and you open it up and it's bad inside, they'll take it back and you get your money back. But the other thing was he had fruit. It was a whole bunch of fruit, and then he had 3 books that had like dog ear marks on them, had been completely, you can tell the spine had been like bent open because they read the whole thing, all 3 of them. They took that back. They took all 3 books back. I was like, yeah, that person clearly just read those books and then returned those books.
Wow.
That makes no sense. It like to me, that is one of the most, like, I'm just dumbfounded by this idea. Like, I don't know. I like it, just that especially with people like Michelle who read books faster than she can breathe. Like, it's not even right.
Faster than she can breathe.
That's right.
Hey, it's not quite that fast.
She's like, and just starts
And Harry
banging
Potter's
out the book.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
I think it should be something along the lines on. I think it probably couldn't be too bad if they did the same thing for like games. But let's just say, I don't know. This might be what they do on some of these. I just hardly ever go through and try and return games at all. Because one, I don't have physical versions. But like if you bought the game, let's just say it was $50 even, or $60 even, no taxes involved. Let's just go with that for make this easier. Like, I feel like you should be able to go through and return it for like $10 to $15 less than that. In terms of they buy it back, you get the money, and then that way basically you paid $15 to rent this game, but within a certain amount of time. Like obviously the longer it goes, that might be what they pretty much do. I don't know. I haven't tried to return a game that's been that new.
It
No,
kind
it's
of
that
depends
yeah.
on the store.
Yeah, I mean, like a GameStop, it's you open it, you bought it. So GameStops, they're kind of sticklers
A
a
lot
lot
of
of time.
times, like with stores, like you can only exchange if it's like defective for copyright purposes, because the reason that GameStop can do what they do is they have basically like a pawn shop license, and they pay for that to be able to resell, and other stores like don't pay for that, so they're not allowed to take it back for copyright reasons unless you're exchanging like a broken copy.
That's interesting.
Is this new exchange policy something that they announced at this year's E3?
No.
Is that part of the system?
No.
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 now I control the
Not from a Jedi.
Okay, sorry. Oh god. This is going to devolve real quick. No, our topic today, let's jump into that. Our topic today is E3 2017. It's been over for weeks.
Did this jump? Well, then I think that's part of it is we've had time to really go through. They go through and they do the announcements at E3, right? Here's the conferences. Here's this. Here's that. Here's all this stuff. And then the days following, you get more information that's like, oh, well, let's elaborate on this real quick. Oh, that part you were confused on? Okay, that's what this means type of thing. So we've kind of given ourselves a little bit of time here to digest, look at new information that's come out. They have, they've had their streams afterwards showcasing games a little bit more than normal. So we've had a lot more time to kind of digest. So we wanted to go through and talk about what we kind of felt overall in terms of about the conferences themselves, about the games that are announced, about the hardware that's been announced, and about how we feel about the future going forward for potentially each of the companies and or people that held conferences or games or whatever you want to say. So we just kind of wanted to get together and kind of discuss to see where everybody felt on these things.
For sure. Just to establish, everyone here watched the conference in some way, shape, or form, right?
So funny story, this was like my idea, and I literally watched Nintendo's 25-minute thing, and that's it.
Oh, snap.
I mean, so, I read like, general lists and highlights and stuff like that, but I didn't actually sit down and watch all the other conferences and streams and stuff.
I'm predicting Michelle instantly starts this whole podcast off by kicking the door and going Nintendo won E3, of course.
I think the only one I didn't end up seeing was Sony's. The rest of them I caught up on in some way. It's just hard for me to watch Sony's conferences being that I don't have the PlayStation anymore. I used to always have a PlayStation. And then this year it was it on Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was. And it just was later. It was like 6 or 7 or 8 or at night or something like that. And I just
also at work for everything but Nintendo's.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I just had other things going and I just never got around to watching the conference later. And then I had heard people like making fun of it, saying there was problems with it. So I just was like, I'll skip it and I'll just read what people say later. And
I watched every conference in their entirety, and Sony was the worst one for me. Like I went back between Twitch and YouTube like 5 times trying to, because one of them would have audio problems, then the other one would have video problems, and one of them would get behind by like 30 minutes. Not that bad, but it would be like a minute behind. I would miss a whole game. It was awful. There were so many difficulties. There was so much lag going on with the Sony conference.
So let's start at the beginning on Saturday. EA is the one. It was the first conference or the first company conference, whatever, to go about. One, how do we feel about this? It feels like it's just moving up more and more every single year.
Now, right? Next year.
That's what I was hearing, that E3 is basically going on in April now, because all of a sudden, a year or two ago, Bethesda's like, well, we'll do Sunday night now, and then like the PC gaming show jumped into Sunday night, and then EA's like, fuck you guys, I'm jumping to Saturday now. We're like, okay, actually I kind of liked it because I had time off, so I actually got to sit down and watch those ones. But
I feel like it should be over a weekend to begin with, just for the general viewing public, because yes, of course the show is for the people who show up there, but not everyone gets to go to E3, and most people are watching it online nowadays. So I think that was a smart move, that they're moving it more over a weekend time, I think.
Yeah, I actually liked having the conferences on weekdays. So because with my schedule, I'm in meetings constantly throughout the day, and luckily somehow last week was quiet, and during the conference times I had no meetings, so it worked out. But if they were at any other times, I would have been screwed and not able to catch them, and I wouldn't have rewatched them, if I'm honest with myself.
If you don't see it live, you would not have gone back.
I mean, I'm the same way. It's hard to go back and try to watch it not live.
Well, going off of Craig's statement though about the EA being the first one out the gate, how do we feel about the EA conference?
I thought it started off kind of fun. I missed the very beginning of it, so I guess technically I can't say it started off fun. The first thing I saw was the A Way Out, that co-op game.
Oh yeah,
the one where it's the forced split screen, no matter what, even if you're playing online, it's split screen co-op game, and I thought that looked awesome. Like a ton of fun. Just a ridiculous amount of fun. And once they had said, they go, and just to let you guys know it's going to be split screen. You know, we want you to do couch co-op. And I was like, no, I don't want it to be just couch. And they're like, but you'll be able to play it online, but it'll be split screen still. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
Well,
I really enjoyed that portion.
And I'll have you guys do this for me as well, but I want to play devil's advocate on some of these ones that I like. For example, on that one there, a lot of people were talking about how good it was, or how good it looked, I should say. But my fear was, I looked at that game like, man, I can't justify a full $60 purchase for that game, only because of the fact that how much replayability can you really get out of it? Like, the whole idea was like, okay, you break out of jail, and then you do this set piece, and then you do this set piece, and then the game's over. And I'm like, so then what? You restart the game and you have to break out of jail again? Like, there's got to be only like 5 ways to break out of the jail or whatever, and you're gonna get bored.
The show Prison Break?
Yeah.
Yes, you mean starring Captain Cold and
for me, did you saw? I think you watched. Gosh, what was that horror game? That for a PlayStation 4 only. It had like the butterfly effect, and it was like the kids trying to get out of the.
Oh my god, I love that one. Yes. You're talking about not Dead at Dawn. Shit.
Dawn. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dawn something.
Yeah.
That's what that felt like to me, where there's going to be, okay, so if you want to break out or, you know, whatever situation is, there's like 4 or 5 different things that kind of cut off from here.
Right.
And then from each one of those, there's 1 or 2 things.
Right.
And then each from one of those, there's like 2 or 3 things. And I'm sure some of them end up kind of coming back and piecing together here or there. But that's the way I felt about it, you know? When they're showing at one point, like, oh, we need to figure out how to get this out of here. It's like, oh, well, you could go bribe this guy, or you could go beat this guy up, or you could sneak around.
Oh, yeah,
him.
yeah. And I'm not trying to shit on it. I'm just saying,
No, you're fine. I'm explaining the other side of it. You're devil's advocate on that. I'm just trying to say this side where I think that's going to be kind of the game type it is. It's going to be one of those ones where it's a whole bunch of branching decisions, and we'll see how it really goes. I think it's going to be more about the story that gets told during this. I think, especially based on it being from the guys that did Brothers Tale of Two Sons, where it seemed like it was a really emotional story. So I think that'll be the most fun part, is sitting down. I'm assuming Burke and I will be sitting down playing this at some point. You know, we both have our headsets on. We might have Skype up, so we're looking, so we can see each other, but we're going to be focused on this game and just silent during 90% of it while we watch this story unfold and we play it co-op. Like, so that's the thing, the feeling I got from it.
And depending on length for me and what it takes, is gonna base it whether it's worth $60 or not.
Yeah, and to me, I said it seemed like a solid game. Don't get me wrong, probably like a $40 game to me though in my head, like a discounted rate. But
do we know for a fact it's a full price $60 game?
We don't,
EA.
but I'm assuming based on based on the fact that it's EA and based on the way like the graphics look good enough to where it would most likely warrant the full $60 price tag.
Fair enough.
So, but what were some of the other games that EA announced? I'm trying to pull it up on my end.
They went over, you know.
I was going to say, insert sport here, insert year here, like.
Yeah, they had Madden 18, they had FIFA 18. I'm trying to look for any other ones that none of us are going to really comment on. NBA Live 18, so yes, Sports 18. But one of the other ones they had was they did Battlefield 1 and Name of the Tsar. That was something. Yes. So I know Berg was a Battlefield 1 player at one point. So I don't know if that was any interest.
I looked at it, tried playing it again this weekend, and realized, I don't like Battlefield 1 as much as I do 4. So it's one of those that I'm not interested in. Even though they're releasing a nighttime map, which actually looks very interesting, it's just not my game. So
how do we feel about the new Need for Speed? I mean, do we care? I'm asking, like, as the group, because they really had that trailer was basically like watching a Fast and the Furious trailer, like where they're like, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And
I'll just put this out there. I can't remember the last time I cared about an EA game.
Oh snap!
Yeah. Need for Speed. Like I think the last one that I got was whenever it was free on Xbox Live, and I played it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't fun. And looking at that trailer that they showed, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a movie. And oh god, there's someone on top of a car. Oh, she's climbing out. I bet you the car doesn't come flying out. Oh my god, it does. What do you know? I'm like, let's be predictable.
Well, I mean, I also didn't get why like they were trying to steal the car that was, I mean, yeah, it was more valuable than the one that they were driving into the danger, sure. But at the end of the day, you also damaged the shit out of the hood and everything else, like the body damage, you busting it out of the back of the head or whatever.
No, just none.
Well, the big one from their conference, in my personal opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but for me, I think that the big announcement for them was their Star Wars Battlefront 2. And that was the one that they spent the most time on and had their special demo of, and the whole nine.
But being so disappointed with the last one,
first one.
They said there was story to this one, but I still don't know.
I did like how they came out, and you might say, oh, this is them just putting on a PR stunt. Be like, yeah, but I kind of like that even if that's completely true, it's just a PR stunt. I like that they did it. They came out and tried to come out with it, was saying, hey, I don't know if you guys knew about this, but there may have been complaints about our game not really living up to what it was. And it felt like they just kind of like, yeah, we're going to take this one on the chin. In terms of saying, basically, we fucked up. We didn't do this right. So let's try and do this the right way. And maybe it's too far gone. I don't know. I'll only really play the game if, everybody else buys it type thing and everybody else plays it. Well, then I'll play it, because otherwise I don't really care.
I'm leaning toward buying it right now. I gotta be honest.
With that, I was like, it looks like it could be fun. If they make the campaign co-op, I'm in.
Yeah.
But like, to me, I liked how they did that. They said, hey, let's really take a second back. Let's give you the game, whatever, $60 for the game, and pretty much the only money you spend after that is going to be microtransactions. We're going to give you DLC past that for everything else.
Yeah.
And then just that's the way we're going to make our money, is microtransactions. Pay to
win and all that stuff.
Right. I like that.
Did you watch the 40-minute presentation after that?
The gameplay
and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I watched it.
The new mechanics of the game, the new layout, the design, the look of it, it's one of those deals where watching that, I gotta be honest with you, I got really hyped on it, for out of nowhere, because after the first one I really liked it, but I came in at the tail end. Everyone was already pretty much done playing it by the time I joined in. This one, I was watching it going, oh my God, it fixed this. Oh my God, it fixed that. Wow. And the reward system in my head from the way they explained it seems to be more like Call of Duty now, in the sense that you get to go on kill streaks, and then you get to play as the special characters, rather than some asshole just sitting there camping waiting for the special thing to come up. And I'm like, yes, I get rewards for playing better, so everyone has to play better. Plus, it's Star Wars. I'm like, yes, and you get to pick. And I don't know, I thought EA's conference as a whole was solid. Not all the games were for me, but the Star Wars game alone I thought was very good. So, I mean, if I was going to grade their conference, I would say it's a solid C. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but for me, it's a C.
Yeah, in terms of, because I'm a little bit more of a sports guy than everybody else here. So I liked some of the things they were introducing to the games I don't play, but I realize these are good features. These are things that people are going to want and going to play with. So I would say maybe a little above a C.
C plus,
C plus, B minus ish. Okay. Right around there. That's kind of how I felt.
That's fair. And Michelle, you said you did not see that one, right?
No.
Okay. And Burke,
I'm agreeing with Craig. Okay. Battlefront looked good. That the Escape game looked good, but outside of that, I was kind of bored.
Yeah, they're not for us for the most part. Yeah. But okay, cool. What was the next conference after that, Craig? I'm trying to remember them in chronological order.
Microsoft was the next morning.
Oh, that was
afternoon.
Okay, do we just jump right into our formerly known as Scorpio? Because that was their big thing that they were toting the entire conference, and every game that they would come back to that, mentioning the 4K play and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Started right off with them. Wasn't it pretty much? It started right off with them talking about the Xbox. Yeah, the Xbox One X, going over all the craziness that's in the inside of it. It's the most powerful console ever made, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Awful naming convention.
Yeah, I know the one thing that everybody's been talking about is if you take the initials of it, it ends up spelling Xbox.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't do that.
I still like the name Scorpio. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I did too.
No, I would have loved the Scorpio. That's a cool name.
A lot of code names are always better than the actual names they give consoles.
Yeah. Would you rather have the Dolphin or the GameCube? I was
about to say Dolphin. I think I like Dolphin.
I don't know.
Dolphin's fun.
Because the GameCube described it pretty well. I don't know.
And Revolution was a way better name than Wii.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So the one thing on that, did you guys see how small it was? I know all of us have been in a room with an Xbox One where it's like the old school servers that took up half a room, or old school computers. That thing was small. That was the one thing I really liked was how small it was. So it'd be something if I ever wanted to take it somewhere, it wasn't going to be, holy crap, this is half of my carry-on luggage type of thing.
And
You
if
know,
you forgot it, it wouldn't cost that much to ship it back.
Let's see what happens. And the cost of it was something I was surprised by. I know everybody else was like, oh, that's exactly where I thought. I was like, man, I thought for sure. But then again, I was planning out costs like 2 years ago when they first kind of leaked it. But I thought for sure it was gonna be like $700, something like
Same
that,
here.
to kind of put that together. So when they said 500, I was like, that was a lot less than what I thought they were gonna put that
That's a
out
pretty
for.
good deal.
Yeah. And like every other console, because some people are like, oh, because it came out like they're not making any money on the consoles. I'm like, yeah, but nobody ever makes money on consoles. They pretty much all put them to be like, they put them at near cost and they lose a little bit of money and they get, what was it like was it the Switch or the Wii where they lost money, but if they bought one first party title, they got their money back and Nintendo was in the positive.
That had to have been
And
the
like,
Wii.
who buys a Nintendo system and doesn't get a Nintendo game?
Yeah.
So, man, I really want to use the Mad Catz everything for this.
So it was like once it went back for that. They brought in the backwards compatibility for the original Xbox games.
That was so unexpected.
Yeah,
Like,
that
Was
that
that
kinda-
awesome.
with physical copies too, or is it only the download copies?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't literally looked into it, and I was like, that's the only way it's going to go because
Yeah, I
they didn't
couldn't
have.
get clarification on that.
They're not going to have digital titles because there were no digital titles of the original Xbox games. They were all physical, so I'm assuming it has to be physical in some way where it accepts the
didn't they
disc.
start releasing them as digital titles on 360 even though?
I don't remember that. Can anybody else comment on that? I don't
I
remember
feel
that.
like you could go buy some original Xbox games as digital titles.
Well, you guys check that out real quick. See if you guys can find any more information on that.
I just didn't know if they were doing it as like a the way like, you know, Sony and Nintendo do the virtual console and PlayStation classics and stuff, like even though they're just making them
Yeah,
digital copies.
I didn't think they did, but I could be very wrong because at that point I never really was going back to look to purchase most of those. But in general, I like the idea. Again, it's going to be something that doesn't cost you anything unless if you want to buy the game on the marketplace itself, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's fun. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, and to me, it goes back to them walking back something that they said a long time ago, right? Like, you know, at the beginning, it was all about, or when this console generation first started, it's like, we're never looking back. And they're like, okay, we're looking back. All right, now we're looking way the fuck back. It's like, oh, okay. Like, no, really, that's how Microsoft has been about the Xbox One in general. And I think that it, you know, as you said, it does nothing but help them, and it doesn't really cost them a lot of money to do it. So why not?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing overall, even if people, because I don't even remember them saying that, Brian, but I know how you remember these types of things and you
Yeah.
feel slighted by it. So yeah, it's even
I
if
take
that's
everything
so,
personal.
even if that's so, it's like, okay, we went back on our word, but you guys all said you wanted this, so is that good? Is that bad? All right, we're gonna go do it anyway. So we'll start trying to bang these out a little bit quicker here.
Yeah.
Forza Motorsport 7. Anybody care?
Nope.
Burke, you'd be the only one.
Nope.
Okay.
Player Unknown Battleground.
Yeah, they did.
That one I'm actually hoping y'all will play with me because that game looks awesome. I want to play it on PC, but no, y'all don't have PC, so it's coming to Xbox. That makes me happy.
There you go.
We'll go over Assassin's Creed and the Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Minecraft gets 4K. Sea of Thieves. I don't know if there's
Sea of
anything
Thieves.
you
I do
wanted
wanna
to say
mention that.
real quick
Yes,
as
please.
a newbie into it.
I'm going to just tell you guys right now that Sea of Thieves with their demonstration might have been my game of E3.
Wow.
Just because of the fact that when I watched it, like I had only seen like little bits and pieces of it, and I saw like the character images, and I thought they looked really, really awful. And so I was like, wow, this is going to be a really shitty, game. Then I saw the actual water, and that's all I needed to see. And I was like, oh my God, they got it right.
It's beautiful.
Because then I watched the water, I watched the ship move, I watched how it moved on the waves. I'm like, that's correct. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna go out here, and also now they're an adventuring party. I'm like, in my head, I was like all ship to ship battles. That's why I didn't really care as much. But now it's like, oh wait, there's ship to ship battles. You can go in the water, you can dive down to sunken ships, you can go over here, you can battle skeletons, you get away with treasure and put it in the bottom. Oh my God, like it just gets more and more like intense as it goes.
Which is really funny because I swear to God, during the alpha, because Burke and I have been playing that alpha for months now.
We can't talk much about it, but yeah.
But like ship to ship battles, like for when I played at least, they never fucking happened. It was basically
I've done a lot of them,
I played a lot more of the earlier, and I think they're having maybe not network, but they're having people just let kind of go through. And that was, I swear to God, I got into like 3 ship battles on the 4 or 5 times I played. And it was, we played pretty much the entire time. It felt like, it was more of like, oh, let's go here and get this treasure. And I was telling you, Brian, and Burke can verify this. Burke had like the map memorized. So we didn't even have to look at the map anymore to figure out what island we wanted to go to.
It's a big map. I have it memorized already.
It's a huge fucking map. It's not a small,
He's the navigator.
like,
I love
there's
it.
4 islands. There's literally like 50 islands.
Nice.
And he was like, go here, go north, go around this island, right here. Okay, the buried chests are going to be right here, here, and here. And like he would just walk it. And I was like, and that's where I came to you, Brian, and said, they got to show me something for this to be something long term, because there was not. I could play that for probably 20, 30 hours, and then I'm going to get bored because I'm like, oh, look, it's the same exact spot for this treasure chest. And they have been adding things, and these were just tech alphas. These were not gameplay, like, campaign alphas or anything. It was just like, oh, let's make sure this stuff all works together. So
yeah, I'm just like, I just got so hyped off the idea of being a pirate, and then he says that. Then the guy said, I'll just end it with this. The one guy, the developer, says one of the best moves you could do is sneak on an opponent's ship while like they're off adventuring, wait for them to come back, and when they enter the treasure room, you're sitting there with your guns out like, hello, mate.
So yeah, Mike and I have had many adventures with that. Like just doing just that, and like some of the stuff they added in E3 was awesome. So I don't know if I'm gonna buy it yet, but playing it has been a lot of fun.
Gotcha.
Playing was a decent amount of fun. The other things that were brought up on this, and you guys just stop me if you want to say something on it. We've got the Life is Strange prequel, Crackdown 3 with Terry Crews, made me giggle. Cuphead, I was always kind of interested in Cuphead
I think
a little bit.
Beautiful. I've never played it, but it looks beautiful.
Shadow of Mordor.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Middle Earth: Shadow of War. That was something that looked to be a ton of fun, and I can't wait, especially with it being a Play Anywhere title. To be able to play that on PC is going to be so much fun, and then be able to I'll jump over and play it on my Xbox.
Did the graphics look weird to you on that game?
No,
they looked good.
They did? Okay. Because when I watched the conference, maybe it was my computer, maybe it was something, but like it looked Xbox, like early Xbox One, late Xbox 360 rather than Xbox One quality. So
yeah, I'm not really sure. It looked fine to me, but I'm unsure.
Okay,
about that. We had Ori and the Blind Forest, and then BioWare's Anthem. That was like the Iron Man game, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. That I'm kind of hesitant on that one. It looks, it's one of those ones that I'm take it or leave it right now. It looked absolutely beautiful, but I know it's not going to look that good when the game releases. It can't. So we'll see.
It's BioWare, so can it be a PC game as well?
Yeah. So I'll probably get that one. I think it's an MMO, so I don't know what platform I'll get it on.
It looked like Destiny 3.0 or however you want to put it to me. Just another, you get in a group, you go run, you go do this, and there we go. That pretty much kind of covers most of everything on the Xbox side of things. So the one after that was Bethesda.
Oh, you mean, for the record, it's amazing that this is the year that Skyrim finally came out. I don't know if you guys knew.
For the 43rd time.
Well, no, I don't know if you guys knew that, but everybody's conference mentioned Skyrim. Every conference. It was like...
Fucking Skyrim.
I did.
The game's fucking old. I mean, I love the game, but fucking get over it.
Bethesda
Give me a new one.
Had the worst conference, in my personal opinion.
Agreed.
Like by far, they shit the bed hard. Like it was awful.
It's a toss up between Sony just because of all the difficulties. But yeah.
But
I'll go into Sony when we get there.
Yeah.
Well, what else was in the Bethesda one?
So aside from the fact that they are talking about their Skyrim stuff as usual, they went through and a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, they did that whole announcement where they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to have these paid mods, right? So what you're going to do is we're going to pay these people to make mods for us, and then you can buy them. So that was and people responded very negatively and said, nope, that's a terrible idea. We're not going to do that. And so they said, okay, we're going to walk back that statement. We're not going to do it. This year at E3, they announced, guess what, guys? Official mods that you can buy. It's like people make mods for free. There's no need to buy mods, but nope, these are official mods, so you can still get achievements while you get mods. look at Armor Crab. I'm like, fuck. Oh, it was awful. It was awful. The whiplash from that. They got such a negative reaction.
It was bad.
Oh, it was a disaster. I was watching it during a live, a bunch of live tweets, of course, and people were going nuts. Like they couldn't believe their jaws were on the ground on this one. But at least that's the big one, I should say. I mean, there's a lot of other things that they did wrong too, but that's the big one.
Well, they had the Wolfenstein, and they spent a ton of time, it felt like, on the Wolfenstein game, did they not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's okay. I mean, I heard the last Wolfenstein was pretty solid, so.
I mean, yeah, that one interested me just because of I'd watched Man in the High Castle. So, but outside of that.
Yeah, and then they're like, check out the Morrowind, because Elder Scrolls Online is doing so well.
Is it actually failing? Because
it's failing.
They seem like, tons of people are playing this. I'm like, I played it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's
no Skyrim.
It's doing as well as an MMO does nowadays. That's not aimed World of Warcraft.
Okay, fair enough.
Ouch. So we can jump on to the PC gaming show. I'm just going to jump through because that just seemed like a lot of trailers and people trying to sell you intel.
Yeah, I was kind of bored.
Stuff.
It was boring.
So we'll bomb through this real quick. If anybody has anything, let me know. XCOM 2, Ooblets, BattleTech, customization and development.
Okay, sorry.
Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord, Total War, Warhammer 2. Shadowverse, Wonderland Dreams, Tunic.
Excuse me, sorry, Craig.
Player Unknown's Battlegrounds gets vaulting and weather. I remember a lot of people laughing about that, saying, "Dear Lord, can you guys imagine if they said now in our games vaulting over objects?"
Yes, right?
Really. Like how much people would have lost their shit. Like, are you fucking serious?
This year, Mario jumps. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Killing Floor 2. Islands or Wylands. It's Islands is how you pronounce it, but the one where basically it's like open world Minecraft on islands or whatever.
Yeah, that one probably looked the most interesting out of their whole lineup.
Yeah, none of them were all that interesting to me. The Last Night, Griftlands, Lone Echo, Lawbreakers, Wargroove, Shadow of War, we already talked about, and Age of Empires.
Oh yeah, the Age of Empires thing, that got my little like 13-year-old self hard just because I played Age of Empires a lot. So, and seeing it remastered with with almost updated graphics.
Almost.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was interested in from there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a lot to say about that one. Yeah.
After we go from there, we go to Ubisoft the next day, and that one started off kind of fun because it immediately brought out Shigeru Miyamoto, and that completely confused me when I was watching it because I turned it on and I was just a little bit behind, so I didn't get it on right at the beginning. And then I kind of like was fast forwarding. I remember I was laying upstairs. No, this is during work. Never mind. But I was sitting there. I kind of popped it up at work, and I looked over. I'm like, wait, what? I thought it was Ubisoft's thing, and I looked in the top left, it said like Ubisoft or something along those lines, but Miyamoto's on stage with a gun. I was like, the fuck is happening here? I was completely thrown off for a hot minute.
Well, it's what I'm trying to think now. The Ubisoft one. What's the name of the girl who always does the presentations that did not do it here?
Aisha
Tyler. Yeah. So she didn't do it this year for the first time in a very long time, and this is there's the huge debates over, oh man, so and so won E3. Blah, blah, blah. I used to believe in that. I don't believe in it anymore as far as like who wins E3. But the consensus online that I've seen is that Ubisoft, for the first time, like basically ever, won E3. I was like, wow, like that's unbelievable because their conference was that solid.
Yeah, there was a lot of good things, and like to start off with that game, that looked pretty interesting to me. It made me giggle that Mario had a gun in a game. Like, and they're like, yeah, we're good with this. This seems acceptable. Miyamoto's on stage, like, yeah, shoot the motherfucker right in the face and see what happens.
Clock. It's not like he's.
I know it's still, but I'm just saying, like, it's just you're used to him at most like punching people.
Yeah, time to die, motherfucker.
Yes, basically. I was like, holy shit! It just kind of threw me off. But it looks really interesting, and this is where I'll say this: Nintendo by far had the most amount of games that I was like, oh, I think I'll end up getting that and buying it. Like every other system had like one or two that might be kind of fun here or there, but there was like 4 or 5 I was looking at, and I was like, these all look kind of fun here, and they'll be fun little, like a couple of them I was like, these would be great games for Sarah and I to sit down and play. I can't wait to play those with her. And then like the Rabbids one looks just kind of fun in general. It's just there's quite a few things. and they started that all off with basically in a different person's or a different company's conference. After that, they went over basically to, I think, was it Assassin's Creed right after that?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think they went to that for a little bit, said they're going to be a playthrough afterwards, and then went back to something else. But Assassin's Creed, I actually liked kind of what they did. They kind of made it level based. It's going to be interesting, a little bit different, more RPG-esque than your past ones. So
I was impressed by the combat revamp.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like you can't being an assassin and you can't one hit kill everybody. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, and you can't just mash the counter button the entire game and just, fight that way. You got to actually like dynamic combat it.
Well, they kind of got rid of mashing the what do you call it? Not too long. They got rid of that a couple
games
ago, where you couldn't just mash counter all the time. You had to be a lot more planned out with it. And if you missed it kind of canceled out the rest from there. But let's jump along. Let's go to The Crew 2. Anybody have any big feelings on The Crew 2?
So, I know we all played it for a little bit. I enjoyed the game. Is it a game I'm going to play hours and hours of, like a lot of people didn't know? But that presentation bored me to death, to be honest, of the game. It just did. Like, I like the game. I'm interested. I'll probably buy it one day. Not when it launches, though.
Yeah, I really didn't feel anything powerful to it. They're like, oh, we've got planes and other stuff. I was like, yeah, but I didn't like the game in the first place. More vehicles isn't going to help.
Yeah.
There's the creepy Elijah Wood Ubisoft Transference game. Or experience. I don't know what you want to call it.
The Elijah Wood experience.
Yeah, something along those lines. So one of the really cool things that I saw was the next one, which was the Skull and Bones game, which basically looked like they played a claw game with Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, went down, grabbed the ship-to-ship battle, drug it out, and dropped it into its own IP.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things, Brian, I don't know if you remember, I was like yelling like, this is stupid, this ship-to-ship battle crap is stupid, back in Assassin's Creed 3 when you played it for just a tiny bit, and I hated it, and I hated it, and I hated it, and then Black Flag became my favorite Assassin's Creed by far of any of the games. And so when they did this, I was like, this looks flipping cool.
I actually read an article yesterday on it, and this was their test bed, or Black Flag was their test bed for the basis of this game. They literally took the combat out of that and went, okay, here you go. So your claw analogy was perfect. And I'm excited for it. Probably more so than I am for Sea of Thieves, and I've played that.
Yeah, I like the idea of this a lot better than Sea of Thieves. Like, I think it's two different types of fun, because now, like, one, you're a crew on one boat, and this is going to be you're a like fleet of pirates with your own boats with their own unique abilities, and one of them is going to be the big one that has a ton of guns, the other one's going to ram the other one in the face. And like, I love the idea of that. You've got your own ship and you're going through with your buddies, going through and doing it. I still like the idea of the Sea of Thieves. Like, hey, we're all buddies. We're all on the same ship. Let's we got to trim the sails. Yeah. That stuff's fun too. But like, I like the idea of that. So basically we got another Toys to Life game with Starlink Battle for Atlas, where you've got to configure a ship on your controller. How long do we see this before it completely fails out because nobody wants to buy these fucking toys anymore?
I bet you that it actually makes more money than anyone could possibly imagine, because that's every time we underestimate those games, they do very well.
Yeah, but they're getting, I know it's a new one, so it might jump up, but like they're all failing out pretty bad right now.
I won't buy one.
Oh, no, we won't buy it, but we're not the demo.
We're not the demo, but I from what I've heard, the numbers for those games is just plummeting, and people the stores don't want to stock them anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting quirk, though. I mean, you think about it, like you go to your kid builds goes into the game, so it's kind of a cool idea. I mean,
I think it's a good idea. I just don't think it's going to sell well. And so the last thing on the Ubisoft was Far Cry 5, and I know this is something Burke and I are completely like pumped up about.
I'm excited, and I've never played a Far Cry game, dude.
I haven't either, and I'm really excited about this game.
Just seeing that craziness and watching Red State. It's going to be Red State the video game.
I know. It's going to be so much fun. Going to be a ton of fun. They've got a full co-op for it now, where beforehand they only had situational co-op, I'll call it.
Yeah.
And just the whole idea of it makes me giddy to try and go through and play this game. So
you heard about all the protests already, right?
I don't fucking care. That
That
this
is
game
so-
looks so
the
much fun.
protests are half the reason I'm excited.
I know the fact that God fucking more. I'm not even gonna. Nope. Just gonna shut up. Not gonna go on a rant.
Nope, we're not talking
Nope.
about it. We're just going to talk
Nope.
about how awesome this
Oh my
game
God, it
looks and
looks
how
so
much fun it's
amazing.
going to be. It's going to be a ton of
As a
fun.
Christian, I want to play this game and kill fucking crazy Christians. like, how about that? Like, go get over your fucking selves. Sorry, okay, that's my rant right there.
Beyond Good and Evil 2. Anybody have too much on that?
Dude, that trailer, I may have been a little bit inebriated, freaked the fuck out of me. Like, I
With
was.
the monkey man.
Oh wait, no, wait, that was. Yeah. Sorry, Beyond Good and Evil, but like it was just fucking with my head. I'm like, this is awesome. Yeah, I want to play the first one now, and I, even though it got really good reviews apparently, but I want to go back and play it.
Oh, what was the other one? Not the Evil Within.
Yeah, it was the Evil Within 2. That
Evil Within, but the Evil Within 2 was the one I can't remember where that was. I was like, holy crap, that looks so cool.
That's the one that scared me.
That one scared me. I was like, I want to go back and play the first one. But yeah, I thought I thought it looked kind of cool. The Between Good and Evil or whatever it was too. But so let's go on. I think was Nintendo the next morning.
I think so.
That was the next one.
Or
Yeah.
was it Sony?
Or was
It was
Sony?
Sony.
Oh,
Sony, then Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Sony was that night. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sony was that night. So that's the only one I didn't watch. So I can try and go through and mediate here on what people said is coming out. One of the ones that I think Brian is probably the most excited for is Knack 2.
It's Knack.
what? I don't even remember that one.
That's a joke.
It's a big
Okay.
joke. So how did this start off besides shitty? Like, where do they go from there? Because
So they opened it up with like some Indian sitar music, and the coolest part of the presentation, in my opinion, was they started dropping sand behind them and making shapes. That was cool. And then they started showing games, right? And here's my problem with what I saw at the conference. Yes, they had good IPs. They have Everyone Loves the Uncharted. The they had the Spider-Man, which looked beautiful, and
Oh, the Spider-Man looked good.
I know we'll get to that, but like they had some really good titles. But my problem was, I'm watching these games and they're like, oh, here's a cutscene action sequence. Press A to dodge. Press X to jump. Am I fucking in the early 2000s still playing video games? If I'm watching a cutscene, I want to watch a cutscene. Let me control my full character. Don't put me in these fucking scenes where I'm. I have
Quick
to
time
press
reaction events.
Yes, those are fucking stupid. That's old. Do something new with your IPs. That's me.
I had heard that what they were doing with the Spider-Man was the QTEs that everybody saw was going to be kind of like not rare moments, but kind of like the Shadow of Colossus type thing where it's just on certain little things, but for the most part you are completely in control. But I believe in what you said, Burke. I either want to be actually just sitting there playing the game, or I want you to show me a cutscene. I don't want to do QTEs where I'm like, which one am I doing? Am I going to get so enveloped with the QTE that I forget and I think it's a cutscene, and all of a sudden it's like hit X to not die, and I'm like, oh shit! And you try and jump forward to hit X, and you don't make it in time because you literally the last 14 minutes was just watching cutscene, and it was like, remember how this was a QTE?
Oh my god.
Yep. All right, so we can go into the games now.
How do we feel about all the VR games? That was right at the beginning too. Once again, I want to mention Skyrim VR, super hot VR. It was literally just like toward the beginning, it was VR. Hey, remember we still have VR? And everyone's like, yes, but remember how nobody bought it?
That's the biggest platform for VR is the Sony.
I understand that, but at the same time, let's be honest here. You remember going back to our VR talk from a while ago. Remember how I was saying that it has a little bit to catch on, or it's not going to? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to. I think it's dying. This is literally like I'm looking at this.
I don't think it's dying. I think it's just too early.
If it's too,
it's too early and largely too expensive for crap.
Yeah, I think they need to have it where the VR technology is a lot less. It needs to be basically.
I was basically comparing this to Blu-ray players with a friend actually just a couple nights ago, where Blu-ray players came out, $1,000 a pop. People were like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but nobody really cared. Then Sony came out with PS3 and they're like, hey, this will be a Blu-ray player and console for $400 less. And everyone's like, oh, great. And then now you can get a Blu-ray player for $80. And so now it's the norm. I think that's the exact route VR is going to go.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah, I'm in that boat too. And that's the exact reason why I got a PlayStation 3 was I talked my dad into thinking it was going to be a Blu-ray player for the whole family. I just played games on it. So some of the other games they brought up, was we already kind of
Horizon
talked
Zero
about.
Dawn,
Yep.
Frozen Wilds.
Days Gone,
Yep.
Monster Hunter coming to consoles and PCs. Brian,
That's huge. That is that.
Yes.
Monstrous.
Yes.
But for real, that's a big deal.
Especially coming
Like,
to PC, that makes me excited.
yeah, I mean that changes. That's a game changer. There's
What
so
I
much
heard-
stuff.
what I heard, this is just hearsay, don't take this as legit, was that people are calling it the casual game, and like the real Monster Hunter experience was on the DS. Like that was going to be the game that actually was more hardcore.
It's gonna
and more,
mainstream it.
yeah, like these are going to be like they're going to dumb it down a bit to get it to all these
Good.
different consoles. And so I didn't know if that made any difference, if that was going to be something that would hurt or hinder
God,
the experience.
Personally, I pray that it is, because the barrier to entry to Monster Hunter is too high. I mean, yeah, I get it. Like elites want to be elites. It's like fighting game community. Game community is like, I'm sorry, you don't have 80,000 inputs that if you haven't been doing them since 1994. Like their barrier to entry is way too high. And in the same way, Monster Hunter had kind of barricaded itself behind a wall of like, we've done this since the first one. And now if it is an easier one, thank the Lord in heaven, because it'll open the door and get more people involved. And you know what? Maybe make Monster Hunter for PlayStation 4 2, you know what I mean? Like more hard, but make the first one accessible. First hit is free.
Right. All right. From there, let's move on to the Nintendo portion of things, which ended up being my favorite part of the entire thing. It was definitely my favorite. Granted, Microsoft could have literally shown a 6 in the Halo font and I would have freaked out, and that would have been my favorite. But since they didn't, Nintendo completely took this whole thing with just how many games. I was like, ooh, I want to buy that.
Yeah, just a quick note for Nintendo's. So it's been actually a few years since I've been really excited for E3s, because I feel like information comes out so much more now that you don't have to wait for E3 for most of these things, and most people aren't surprised because things get leaked, get hinted at. So I really appreciate the fact that Nintendo the past couple. Well, not last year, because last year was just like here's Breath of the Wild, but their past couple conferences other that are just, okay, you know what? We're going to cut the crap. We're not going to sit on the floor for 40 minutes talking to you about, how amazing this is. It's just like trailer, screenshot, logo, like just pumped through it. I loved the presentation style.
Yeah. No, it was very, very concise. That's for sure.
I'm still old school. I like when the people come out and talk, and I like hearing them talk about their games, because I like hearing when the people are kind of pumped up about their
It
games
could
and
also
whatnot.
be because I just can't stand watching Reggie talk, so,
Well, you don't like Reggie? His body's ready.
He amuses me, but he drives me nuts when he talks.
So the one of the first things they brought out, it seemed like, was Rocket League coming out for the Switch. One, I'm going to buy it because that game, that's like the perfect game to be like, I'm out and I'm playing on the road. I've got unlimited data for tethering from my phone. You better know I'm going to be on the road at some point being like, and just Rocket Leaguing everywhere. One of the other games, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Anybody have any... I've never played a Xenoblade.
Never
I didn't
played
play the
it.
other one. It
Didn't
looks
look
beautiful.
interested.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It looked really good.
fine.
One of the games that I was really pumped up about, a co-op Kirby game. That looks like it's going to be fun.
Kirby,
The
Kirby game looks great.
That looked awesome.
It looks like it's going to be kind of like a harken to it like felt like the
Superstar.
Yeah, that's what it felt like a lot, just like even with some of the way the
Yep.
screen was set up, the HUD, or
That doesn't
what I'll
come
call
out
it.
2018 at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally just were like Kirby.
Yeah,
They didn't even give
sometime
it a title.
I wasn't
2018,
crazy.
but still I was excited. I was like, oh, that's cool. That looks like a fun game. They said that a proper RPG Pokemon game is coming out for the Switch.
Yeah, so
Brian,
I
know,
saw that.
hates that.
I think they said core Pokemon RPG is actually
did.
what they said.
They did. They said core RPG was the wording on it.
Which, in my opinion, that's perfect. I agree, and that's fine. And that probably was for Nintendo's conference. The highlight for me is him just acknowledging the fact that that's what they're doing with it, because my concern was that they were going to go like, no, we're going to keep forcing the 3DS down your throat rather than trying to actually upgrade to the proper new handheld, which is the Switch. Like the Switch should take over for the 3DS, in my opinion. Like I get double dipping and blah blah. We can go into a
I
whole thing
disagree
about
with
that.
you, but
but I think that the Switch needs to be the one and only Nintendo product for systems, as far as I'm concerned.
I just want to note, Nintendo's been king of handhelds for 30 years now. They're not going to kill that market.
Well, the Switch is a handheld, in my opinion. Like the Switch is,
I don't think they're going to like they yes, it's a feature, but I don't think they're going to market it as their handheld replacement.
It's too big to be a handheld. Like,
they're just going to say, here's your console that you can take on the go.
Yeah, but that's shady. Like the Switch is supposed to be a handheld, and if you're going to market it as, hey, you can take it with you, then it's your handheld. Like you can't say I have a handheld and a handheld system. You get one or the, like it's that is your handheld, in my opinion. So
I don't consider it a hand. It's way too big, like in my hands, and I'm a bigger dude. I can't fit that stupid thing in any of my fucking pockets at all. So like everybody else, you're going to have like its own carrying bag at that point. And that's when it becomes not handheld. Now I know some people, you're going to have the bags with all the cases and stuff like that. Yeah, you can have all that. But like for me, if I can't fit it in one of my pockets and I'm a big dude with massive pockets, it's not a handheld.
Yeah, I just said
anyway.
Anyway,
Metroid Prime 4.
Woo!
They showed the logo for that.
I'm excited for those who are dedicated fans.
And just super excited that Nintendo is kind of taking feedback from fans.
Yep. A new Yarn Yoshi game is coming out. Again, going to be 2018, and it looks like it's got a...
Yeah.
Oh, this says Yarn, sorry. Wasn't
it's
paper
okay. It's a paper craft one, but it's same vein. You're good.
Okay. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm just reading off a summary here of the thing. But yeah, a new Yoshi game in general. It looks like it's co-op, so that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to do like a couch co-op game on it. Fire Emblem. Any Fire Emblem players here?
Not me.
Nope, nobody. Okay, moving on. Breath of the Wild expansion, that looked like it was going to be kind of fun. Give me a reason to go back through the world, because I put like 90 hours into Breath of the Wild, and it's hard for me to get in there and like, I'm going to go through and complete it. I'm like, I've just got so many other games to go through and play. Like I can't spend time going back and 100%ing this when I've got friends that are like, oh, let's get on and play Overwatch. I'm like, oh yeah, well, screw you. I'm going to play Breath of the Wild for another 120 hours.
#Blood Reaper.
And so like, it's just hard for me to jump back into something I've already beat when I've got like people like socializing wanting to come play with me. So this will give me a good reason to jump back in and be like, I'm going to go through them plays again on the hard mode and stuff like that. They gave us a little bit more Rabbids footage. And then we got ourselves the look at Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep, that's a game.
Odyssey looks great.
I thought it looked fun. I'm excited just for a platformer, a Mario platformer again.
I'm super impressed by just the amount of different stuff going on.
That I will agree with.
It is impressive.
I felt like a party pooper because like that's the one that when I watched it, everyone was like, oh my God, and have the greatest game of all time. And I'm looking at it going, like the 3D world for the Wii U was, in my opinion, one of the best 3D Marios that's ever been made, because of the sense that you had the equivalent of the 2D levels. Like you had, point A to point B to the flag at the end. And it was 4 people, and it was fun. It was a party game, but it was an individual game. You could, it took skill, it took, discovery. And then this game was more like a Mario 64, which is kind of a different vibe entirely, which it doesn't make it bad, but definitely just makes it a very different game than I was, kind of wanting.
And when I saw that, I mean, granted, I have great memories of Super Mario 64 because this is, again, I had friends, but none of them played video games. So that was like one of my great games to play because it was always just me playing games with myself growing up. So that you're saying that, you're like, oh, it reminded me. That's exactly what it reminded me of. And it made me more excited than I could have been for a co-op Mario game. Yeah, probably.
I've enjoyed other recent Mario games, but I don't think I've been this excited for a Mario game since probably Galaxy 2.
It did look interesting. I think I started freaking out when I saw Mario dressed as like the Mexican guy with the sombrero and poncho on. I thought that was awesome and started laughing my ass off.
I did hear there's co-op elements of it, kind of like how Galaxy sort of, if you really want to stretch the definition of co-op.
Yeah.
You can kind of like wave around. So I'm hearing that they've got something along those lines. So that still makes me a little bit happy that you can still have a little bit of fun with somebody else Maybe that's not like, I can see it like with a really like a niece or nephew playing it with them and they're helping you out with stuff like that. So I kind of like the idea.
Yeah,
of
no,
that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it looks bad or anything. I think it looks phenomenal. And would I get it? Yeah, of course. But
So you're trying to tell us that Nintendo's done. They're done. They're completely done.
They're done.
They're
The
done.
company's over. They say they didn't release a Pokemon this year. The game's over. It's over. Call E3.
So that's it for all the E3 presentations. Now, I heard that we might have an E3 quiz.
Impossible. No one's ever done a quiz before.
Well, so here's the thing. Burke wrote it and then just fucking left right now.
Fuck you, Burke. No one loves you.
Yeah, jerk. No, so I did write a short quiz on E3. I couldn't find a lot of the stuff that I was hoping to make the type of quiz I was going for. But I did make one that was about some stuff about the first E3 and then just some things about the most recent E3. Just to kind of compare what it's been, how it's changed.
I'm going to lose this quiz for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. I am done.
It is mostly number based, so I'm just going to have you guys go back and forth between answering first.
Got it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so our first question is, what year was the first E3? I want to clarify that this is when it was called E3. It was born out of a different conference, but I am referring to the first time it was called E3.
Okay.
1994.
I'm gonna go 96. Why not? I'm gonna put a whole space between us.
Okay, well, I guess you'll both get a point for being 1 year away because the answer is 1995.
But the gals.
Yeah, so the first time it was called E3 was 1995, which I didn't realize, like, I thought it was around much longer than that, and I just assumed, like, I never heard of it because around that time is when I started gaining access to information, so I just assumed it was already, like, an established thing.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was, yeah.
Besides LA, what two other cities have gotten to host some E3 events? It only happened a couple of times.
I'm just gonna go on this one, and I'm gonna guess it's New York and Orlando.
New York and San Diego.
Okay, so 0 points there. It was Atlanta for a few years, and Santa Monica hosted it twice.
The old Santa Monica, always the dark horse.
Yeah, how could you not think of that?
Oh man, those piers are great.
Okay, so Craig will answer this one first. How many people attended the first E3?
343.
I'm gonna guess 1,000.
So this entirely shocked me. The first one still had an attendance of 50,000 people.
Oh my god! How?
Wow.
Like,
How?
I was genuinely surprised, but they must have done just enough, like, hype and marketing and stuff that it had roughly 50,000 people attended the first one.
That is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's the most interesting thing I learned, because I thought it was going to be like, 10 people showed up and, because that's how a lot of conferences start. Like, it's just like a handful of people, and yeah.
Wow. I would not have guessed that at all.
I would have never gotten there either. I always go with a handful of people first.
All right. So now we're going to get into some of the details of the first E3 to kind of go back and have some throwbacks here. So the first question relating to this is, what was Sega's big thing of E3 1995?
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Sonic and Knuckles.
I'm going to say Sonic 2. I don't think it was Sonic and Knuckles yet.
All right, so you guys are actually a little past yourselves. So they went pretty much all Sega Saturn for this conference, is what they were doing. They had initially announced that it was going to release in September of that year, and then Sony also said they were going to release their PlayStation at September of that year. So Sega was like, hey, here's the Sega Saturn. It's going to be $399, and guess what? You can buy it today.
Oh, snap.
So they pulled that old trick at E3 of 1995.
Well, I mean, back then that wouldn't have been an old trick. That would have been a new trick.
Yeah. So let's see here.
And the Sega Saturn went on to sell more copies than any other
Yeah, right.
system ever.
Yeah, so then of course Sony clapped back with their PlayStation and they're like, it's going to be $100 cheaper. We're going to launch it with 50 games available by, the end of the holiday. And pretty much shat on the set. So that's what happened on Sony's end. So Nintendo had two big things for 1995. What were they?
Boy. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and say the Nintendo 64 was announced. And also the Virtual Boy.
I'm going to go with the Nintendo 64 and Mario Kart.
All right, so you're both going to get a point for N64. They were still calling it Ultra 64 at this point. They hadn't officially renamed it yet.
Nice.
But they did talk about how that was an upcoming thing, and they did actually show off quite a bit about the Virtual Boy that year.
Oh, I was right on both?
You sure were.
I got, double dipping on the
Here
points.
comes the money.
I can't believe I actually got that.
So this is really gonna date this E3 conference. So SNK had a whole conference to themselves, and what did they show off?
God, this is gonna be the hard one because I literally don't know who SMK is. They showed off AK-47s. They were Russians.
I literally have no idea who SMK is at this point either. Mortal Kombat 4.
All right, so they showed off the ever popular, we all probably had one, Neo Geo CD.
Oh my god.
Guys, remember that thing? It was great.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So
who can
that's
forget
why
the
they don't have a
first-
conference anymore.
and why we've never heard of them.
Even better than that, they got topped off by this company called 3DO M2. What did they show off this year? 1995.
This year?
No, I'm sorry, in
okay,
1995.
The 3D. CDI, the Philips CDI. I don't know. I
The
don't.
3DOM boy.
Nope. So they were showing a console that they were calling the M2, and this is the kicker: they never released it.
Oh snap!
So they wasted their entire E3 console conference on a console that they never even launched.
That's
So,
about right.
so I'm sure we can figure out why that company also does not have a conference anymore.
I don't see why. You'll have to fill me in.
All right, and then our last big thing from 1995, they had a lot going on. Another struggle bus company, but I'm sure you've heard of this. So what did Atari do that year?
Ooh.
They announced that they finally had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
I think that they announced that they would be creating third-party games for other companies. Like they announced their
It's probably what they should have done, but this is, I think, probably the last year they decided to ride their little console struggle bus, and they announced the $300 Jaguar VR, which had the VR headset and controller and the CD add-on.
All right, can we all agree that I was right that VR is bullshit and doesn't work because they've been trying it since 1995?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not
Nintendo had Virtual Boy, Atari came out with this, and everyone's like, yeah,
it's not
no.
working, folks. I'm telling you, it's a.
So I'm right. They did file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
You're probably not wrong.
Craig went a roundabout way, but he's right.
All right, so in contrast to 1995, about how many people attended E3 of 2017?
The first one was 50 million. You said right?
50 million.
50,000.
50,000.
50,000. I meant. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
50 million. 50 million. Go off that, Brian.
I'm going to say that this one is 5. Instead of it'll literally 10 times that amount. So 500,000.
I'm gonna go with. Okay, is this across the entire week, right? Like the whole E3 week?
I believe so.
All right, I'm gonna go with 343,000. 343.
So unfortunately, since it's been using the same building for most of its life, attendance hasn't changed that much throughout the years. It did top off at 70,000 at one point in the early 2000s, but this year was about 69,000 people. Just a
Wow.
hair under that.
Is it still only open to the? No, it's open to the public again, isn't it?
So that's the next question. This year was the first year that it was open to the public. So out of that 69,000, how many were public attendees?
I'm gonna say 19.
Well, I was going to go with 343.
Okay, Craig's
19.
technically closer, because the answer is 15,000.
No, I meant like 19,000. I swear to God, I meant 19,000.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, I didn't like 19 people were pressed. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I know I'm bad at these quizzes, but come on, give me a little bit of credit here, folks.
No, you're good at quizzes. Just this one involved math. That's why we were confused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so about 15,000 people attended E3 as public attendees for the first year ever. Most E3s have had between 300 to 500 exhibitors. I don't know exactly what they meant by exhibitors. I'm assuming they mean companies, booths, all of that
Sure.
counts as different
Strippers.
exhibits. Yeah, whatever. In 1995, Nintendo and Sega both hired models for no reason to just parade around with advertisements. So
Nothing makes me want to play
Effective.
Donkey Kong
Effective.
more than models, because what?
So in 2007 and 2008, which was the 2 years that the show was hosted in Santa Monica, how many exhibitors did those two shows have? Hint, they were trying a new format.
Let's go with 111,000.
I'm gonna say it was 175.
Okay, so Breen is technically closer. It was 33 and 39, respectively.
Wow.
So not a whole lot going on there. So I can imagine that's why they discontinued both that new format and were like, goodbye, Santa Monica.
Yeah, really.
Because nobody showed up.
It's like I heard their peer is great for Pokemon Go, but that's about the only reason to go there nowadays. I'm just saying.
All right. I don't know who conducted this survey, but I'm imagining that that's what they did. So according to statistics collected by E3 of 2017, what percentage of U.S. households have a gamer in them, being defined as somebody who plays regularly, which constitutes 3 or more hours a week?
I'm gonna go ahead. I'd say if you want to guess, mine is a pure guess. So
I'm going to go with 66%.
yeah, I was gonna go 80%.
Okay, so Craig is really close. It's 63%.
No kidding.
Yeah. So 63% of them have that, what's counted as a regular gamer, and 65% have, excluding I don't know if it excluded cell phones, but 65% of households have some kind of gaming platform in their house.
Okay, well, we're taking over.
All right, and the last question we have here, according to that same survey, what is the average age of a gamer in the U.S. right now?
25.
28.
All right, so Craig is a little closer there. The answer is 35.
Oh, are you serious?
Yep.
I'm a young man, according to that statistic. Wow, really? That's amazing to me. I thought that the average age would have been a lot younger.
Yeah, I assume it's just because that's probably the age, roughly, of people who have been mostly growing up with it.
Yeah, but I assumed that it had to have been like anything else in life where it's like, oh, well, as you got older, they had to make time for their kids or their whatever.
No, I'm thinking that since we grew up with such a great version, and I think people right before us too, like when the Atari and stuff came out, when they were little kids playing the Atari and things like that, and they've kind of grown up playing all these games, that it makes sense that 35 is the mean, because that means they're about 40-ish now, and they've been playing the games for a while, and then there's us, we're bringing up the rear, and it's just going to be a whole bunch of gaming from here on out, a whole bunch of it.
That's true. Who won this one, by the way?
Speaking of this being a game, this is me being a little generous to myself.
Oh,
I gave myself a half point at once because I made myself laugh.
that's
So with that in mind, Brian still wins.
oh snap!
So it didn't matter, but it made it closer and made me feel better about myself that I was just a wee bit closer. So you won. You won.
I won E3, everybody. I won E3 finally. I knew that Ubisoft booth couldn't stop me. Oh my god! No, that was very interesting though, because to be completely honest with you, I didn't know much about the first one there. That was a lot of this was kind of guesswork, but at the same time, I didn't realize that it's only been since '95. That means I don't know. I find that fascinating. I don't know about you guys.
Gosh, I didn't know really any of that, and I couldn't. I thought it would have been going on for longer, and I'm pretty sure that I thought for a fact that I don't think I watched too many of the conferences growing up, all the way up until I think probably summer after we graduated at some point. But I was like, oh, you guys have heard of this E3 thing, right? Yeah, I know about E3 now. It's like 2016. Fuck you guys. I know all about E3.
Yeah, I know. It's like everyone's looking forward to it, like the Super Bowl at this point, and everyone's looking forward to see like the wins and the disasters. And speaking of the disasters, there's one thing that we know about this E3, that's for sure, and that is Bethesda's business model got dunked on. It sounded better at my head.
Oh god. That was probably our worst / best one yet.
Bethesda's business model got dunked on.
Oh, I think I'm the only one that's made a worse one than that so far.
Like, it's one of those deals where I was like, in my head, I was like, wait, I mentioned the Bethesda business model for the thing there. Like, this will definitely land. I started to say it. I'm like, the words aren't coming out right. It's like, pull up. I saw the mountain coming. It's like,
I started trying
tell my wife I love.
I was completely trying to think of a way to do it against Burke. That's where my head was at the whole time. I was like, okay, how can I make this Burke got dunked on somehow? And
oh yeah.
I wasn't coming up with anything.
And I was trying to relate it back to that kid that YouTuber who had the huge blunder,
Oh,
during
fuck.
the conference. Who
That
just
was
was like,
so bad. From what I heard, his teleprompter went out. And so he was trying to talk without his teleprompter. I was like, oh, man, that looked bad, and you didn't know the teleprompter went out. He just looked like he was like, headlights.
On top of that, like when the guy comes up and he's like, hey, he didn't even know the guy's name, so he just kind of trailed off. He's like, and he gives him like that half handshake thing. Like it was, Michelle, that alone is just look up YouTuber like chokes at E3 or whatever, and you'll find it. It's funny as hell.
It's terrible.
It is, I didn't bring it during the podcast because I was like, I'll spare him that little.
Yeah. I'm trying to go after not the presenters themselves. I'm trying to just go after the companies and the people
exactly.
that are good.